Hey guys, Ramon here from Project Put Under, Anesthetist by Day and DIYer by Night. Today we're going to be learning how to take these old, non-working Christmas lights. These happen to be incandescent. This wouldn't matter if they were LED or incandescent bulbs, but these old strings that we all have that just don't work anymore, or sections of them don't work, whatever. And we're going to be turning those into custom length, basically extension cords. So for me, my project right now is connecting window to window. Speaking of these old Christmas lights that don't work anymore, what I did is I posted something on the Nextdoor app. You could use Facebook, Craigslist, whatever you want. Ask your friends, ask your neighbors. And I just put a post on there, hey, I'm looking for any old Christmas lights that you have that you're not using anymore, that are broken, whatever, I want them. I had a handful of people give me a variety of different broken Christmas lights. I was able to use the vast majority of them. Some gave me like the net lights that go over like bushes. Don't use those. I have some white ones. I have mostly green ones. You just want your classic string of LEDs, and most of these are going to, or they should almost all have just your 3 wires. So nothing fancy, just the simple Christmas lights that most people have. And I got to be honest, most of these people were just happy that I was taking these lights off of their hands. They were all like, I didn't know what to do with these lights, and I just felt bad about throwing them away. So they were more than willing to give me a bunch of their lights that they don't use anymore. Okay guys, so we're outside, and this is that custom length extension cord, and you can see I have it zip tied to my PVC frame and then plugged into there. Now I let it drip, have a little bit of a droop. I just didn't want it so tight that, you know, if anything changes, or I just didn't want a whole lot of tension. So I'm okay with having a small droop like this. But you can cut that and make it a little bit straighter if you want. And then it plugs into there. The biggest thing to remember is when you take your measurements, you plug in the male side of the extension cord. So whatever your extension cord that has all those lights on it or whatever, the broken one, you plug it in to the female side of your working Christmas lights. So you plug in the male side first, and then you make your measurement, and then you make the cut. You'll have a bunch of excess wire left over, as well as the female side. That's how you want to make sure you're cutting all of these lights. So, okay guys, first things first. You want to take the extension cord that you're going to be making from the old broken lights and plug it in, which I have mine plugged in, and test it to make sure that it works. Because I got so many free lights, I have come across some that it won't even transfer power through. So something really bad happened to those wires. But I'll just do a quick check and make sure that those work. And then make sure you unplug it. All right, so I'm just going to go over this real quick. There's lots of videos online about how to do this, so there's no need to beat a dead horse, but there's basic anatomy to all of these Christmas lights, whether they're LED or they are incandescent bulbs. It doesn't matter. The first bulb, starting at the male end, will have 3 wires. 1, 2, 3. Okay, and go into the female end, the last bulb will also have 3 wires. Now, depending on the length of these lights, you will also have 2 sets of lights in the middle that also have 3 wires. So let me show you that here. One has 2 wires, and then you're going to get to this bulb here that has 3 wires. Let's see if I can show you there. Okay, so 3 wires connected into there. And right next to that, these always come in pairs like this. So if you have one, everyone I've come across has had 2 pairs like this next to each other. So I'm not going to say absolutely everyone is going to have 2 pairs, but I haven't come across one yet that doesn't have 2 pairs. So the next one next to it also has 3 wires. So these you will not touch. These will remain in this line. And the only wire you're going to cut is, of those 3 wires, is that wire that's connected to the bulb with 2 wires. So this wire you can cut. You cannot cut any of these. And then on the other side, find the wire that's connected to this yellow bulb. And that's the wire that you can cut. So what I usually do, because these are so wound up, is I go to the wire, to the bulb that has 2 wires, I make a cut, and then I unravel it. And so now I have this cut wire hanging off of this bulb that has 3 wires. See the 3 wires there? So I can isolate that one. And then same thing from the other side. This one has 2. Cut it, unravel it. This one has 3. Cut that off. Okay. So this is what your one with 3 wires should look like. So it still has the 3 wires, but one of them will be cut, and then one of those will be cut. Now I know I went ahead and kind of jumped to the middle there, but let me show you on this one. So same thing. I'm starting from the male end. You can start from the female end. It does not matter. I'm going to leave the first one alone. I'm going to come to this one that has 2 wires, and I'm going to cut that wire that is traveling from the one with 3 wires. So cut it, unravel it, and cut it off of that one. Once again, the bulb with 3 wires, you just leave on here. From there, all of these are going to have 2 wires. And you just sit here and unravel until you're all done. Now, in my case, I'm actually just going to end up unraveling the entire thing because this is a short set of lights. However, in where those longer ones are, you just sit here and unravel until you hit that next pair of lights that have 3 wires attached to them. And sometimes, like, they just get so raveled up that you just cut those wires and untwist them, and you just keep going. So I'm not going to sit here and have you guys watch me. See, like, this one get all raveled up, so just cut it. But all of these that have 2 wires, you just keep on going. Get to the end here. Once again, this part here is going to be the same whether you're at the end or you're at the middle. When you come across 3 wires again, it does not matter. So now I'm coming across, and I'm coming across one that has 3 wires now. So same thing, I just take the wire that's connected to the bulb with 2 wires, and I follow it to there, and I cut. And there you go. So right now I have this cable here, this wire, and let me plug it in. Now these lights will no longer work. The 2 lights that you left on, if this was longer, you'd have another 2 pair of lights in the center somewhere. None of those will turn on. Grab our lights here again. Of course, I can't find the plug. There it is. And these lights turn on, so it works. You of course have the option to just leave this as is. You can leave these lights on if you want. If you're not going to shorten this at all and you're just going to leave it the length that it is, you have two options. Leave these lights on or remove the lights and solder them together. That's up to you. I'm going to put this down for now. I happen to have another pair here that I have already measured out based on the outside. So once again, I started with my male plug and I worked all the way through. All right, and I cut this while it was outside and connected to everything. But I wanted to show you on this one, this was a longer thing. So here goes those two in the middle that I was talking about. This one here is down, of course, at the very end. But these are the two in the middle that I was talking about that have the 3 wires that I cut. So for my sake, all of this is going to be trash. I only need the amount of length that is from the male, and then I cut that length. For the female side, here, all I do is cut it right up against, kind of make sure those wires, and right up against that light there. And now I have my female side. So this is how you make your custom extension cord. This just gets trashed. If you have extra plugs, males and females, you can continue to use this wire. I got so much free broken light Christmas lights that I'm just tossing this. Thing I like to do is cut all of these stickers and warning labels or whatever they have off. Okay. So first things first, make sure your wire is not wrapped around anything. For this, I'm going to be soldering. I just got this off Amazon Weller. This to clean it. I got a sponge here. Got some soldering flux here. Wire strippers from Harbor Freight. Some little extra alligator clamps from Harbor Freight. And then some heat shrink tubing also from Harbor Freight. Any of the stuff you can find on Amazon as well. Should be easy enough to locate. So from here, starting with the female plug here, and we're just going to strip away some wire. This has some markings on the side, so I try to make sure I cut them all the same length. Okay, so I'm going to take 2 of this heat shrink tubing and place it on either one of the wires. It does not matter which side. This part is very important. You have to put this heat shrink tubing on first, or it will not work. Now, you will see some people there that they just twist these together, fold them over, put electrical tape on it and duct tape, or they use like these little wing nuts here and fill them up with silicone. They buy special ones that are made for the outdoors that are waterproof or water resistant. But this setup here is the cleanest looking. It looks nice, clean, professional, and it should be the most resilient to the weather. So from here, if you soldered already, then you know what's about to happen. If you haven't soldered, it's pretty simple. And you'll see all of this in all of my other videos because I soldered all of those together as well. But I will show you in real time. Just take 2 ends. Real quick, it doesn't matter the wire orientation. These are non-polarized, so you can flip this female plug and connect it to any one of these wires. It will not matter. It will all work just fine. We'll twist them together. The biggest thing here is you don't want to have any wires sticking up. That could puncture through that heat shrink tubing. You want it nice and clean, tight, and just put it in these alligator clamps. And there you have it. Now this is not going to be a how to solder video specifically. If you want more in-depth, there's other videos online, or leave us comments below if you want me to do an in-depth video on how I solder. But I'm just going to let you kind of watch an overview of how I do this. So basically I'm just applying some heat to the top right now. I don't really have a set amount of time. that I leave this on for, but I try to make sure that I'm leaving it on for long enough for all that heat to transfer through the copper wire. And I'm going to move it around to the bottom and just let it rest at the bottom for a while. You don't want to set it on, leave it on for too long, because you'll just start burning your wire, melting your wire. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the tip of this and put it on the tip of my soldering iron, and it's just going to melt into that copper wire. And that's it. Always recommend cleaning the tip off in between each. That will allow your soldering iron to transfer the most amount of heat to your wires as possible. If you want to sit here and twist these wires together, you can. It is not something that I care to have that perfect twist in there. So I might do like 1 or 2 twists, but that's about it. I'm okay if these aren't perfectly twisted. All right, so same thing here. And that's kind of what you're looking for. And you can see the other one soldered together there. I will say having these alligator hands here holding this wire makes this so much easier than when you try to do it without. And these are super cheap. A lot of them come with magnifying glasses on it. I just took all that stuff off. I don't need any of that. I just need the hands. All right, so same thing. So this is really nice, having the ability to make these custom and not have to deal with all that excess wire, because that's always a pain. You know, you did all that work to strip off all of these extra wires, and then you have all this excess wire that you have to try to hide or do something with. And so since this is on the front of my house, I just want this to look as clean as possible. I'm okay, like I said, if it has a little bit of a droop in between the windows. I don't want really a whole lot of tension in between each window. All right. Take your time here. There's no need to rush this. And that's it. So you can see in real time that did not take a whole lot of time. So the next thing you're going to do is take your heat shrink tubing that you already have on there, and you're going to slide it over those connections, and you're just going to eyeball it so that those connections are approximately in the middle of that heat shrink tube. It does not have to be perfect. That's pretty good there. And that looks good there. You can get a heat gun. This is from Harbor Freight also, but you can buy these online as well. And you're just going to apply that heat all the way around. And there you go. So you can actually see where my connections were made, because the heat shrink tubing right there shrinks so well around it. And that's it for this side. Now, you could call this done. You have this at the custom length that you needed. Everything works. But this, you still have this light. You'll always have this light because it's the first one closest to the male plug. Unless you needed a very short extension cord, which you could definitely do, then you would be able to skip this step. So you can make this as short or as long as you need. At this point, for this extension cords, it does not matter. So you could totally leave this on. There'd be nothing wrong with it. But just because that annoys me and I want it nice and clean, and if I do it once now, I'll never have to worry about it again. I don't have to worry about water coming in here or this breaking and then water closing the connection there. So just cut that off. There's only 2 wires going into it now because you cut the third one off. And you're going to go through the exact same process of stripping and soldering those together. So I'm not going to sit here and do this on video again, but I'll show you what it looks like when we're done. And as always, do not forget to put the heat shrink tubing on before you make your connections. That has happened to me before, more than once, unfortunately. So, all right, let me get these soldered together and then we come right back. All right, so right back here is where that bulb was that I removed. So you can see now this looks just like a nice clean wire. I mean, you can't even see that it's right here. And then it just goes all the way through. This is custom length for what I need. And then at the very end here is where I spliced my 2 wires for the female plug. All right, guys, well, there you have it on how to make a custom length extension cord using old broken Christmas lights that you can get from anywhere, from anyone, or use old ones that you have lying around the house. Once again, you can make these any length that you need. This opens up a whole world of possibility of nice clean lines inside and outside of your house. For me right now, I'm focusing everything on the outside, but I will be doing this to the inside of my house as well. If you guys enjoyed this video, if it helps you out, if it helps save some old Christmas lights and put them into use, give me a thumbs up and hit that subscribe button. Please leave a comment below. Have you done this in the past? Have you made a crazy long one? How have these worked out for you? Hit that comment section. I'd love to hear what you guys have to say. Thanks, guys.